January 2nd was Ishika's birthday, and this year she made 2 wishes. The first was to own an adorable dog, and the second was to have a handsome boyfriend. Less than half a month after making her wishes, Yichichi found Kyuyushan, a wounded Saimoyed, abandoned by its owner. For the sake of Kyuyushan, she moved out of the dormitory and rented an apartment just off University's campus. The free life of one girl and one dog filled her with sheer joy, yet it also brought unexpected troubles. Just like tonight, when Kyuyushan suddenly fell seriously ill in the dead of night. Chichi opened the Pet Minus Scare app she had downloaded long ago and tapped into the chat box with Dr. Gu. Speaking of Dr. Gu, she had first spotted him on Cheng Zhiyu's WeChat moments. Unreliable as Cheng Ziyui was in daily life, he remained rigorous and earnest when it came to medical field. Dr. Gu happened to be online, and Yichichi anxiously described Kia's Han's symptoms. Pet care Dr. Gu gastroenteritis is the most likely diagnosis. I suggest you rush your dog to a pet hospital at once. Ichichi quickly booked a ride on a taxi minus hailing app and struggled to carry the heavy sick dog downstairs all alone. It was early April, and the night air still held a sharp chill. Ichichi squatted at the community gate, with Kyuyushan pressing closely against her, whimpering pitifully in pain. No drivers accepted her order for the longest time. She was about to fetch a bicycle to push the sick dog to hospital when dim streetlights were suddenly flooded by bright car headlights. Her heart leapt with joy, only to sink into despair the moment she saw the man stepping out of the vehicle. Cheng Ziyu. I wore a gray windbreaker. Every step he took crushing the lamplight beneath his feet. Never thought a casual night drive would lead me straight to you. Cheng Ziyu. I wore a triumphant grin, but his expression froze the second he laid eyes on the dog in her arms. He was severely allergic to cat and dog fur. Kia's hunt sick, and I need to take it to the hospital. No cabs are available this late, so would you mind? Yichichi paused, noticing his furrowed brows, and asked tentatively, what if I ride a bike with Kyuyushan, and you drive ahead to tow us with a rope? Cheng Ziyui was utterly speechless at her absurd idea. Yichichi was on the verge of exhaustion, and Kyuyushan began to slip from her weak arms. Acting on instinct, Cheng Ziyui strode forward in one quick step and caught the fluffy dog. Soft, round, and chubby, Kyuyushan resembled a giant marshmallow, and the dog looked oddly familiar, as if he had seen someone walking it before. A new notification popped up on her taxi app, and Yichichi heaved a huge sigh of relief. Holding out her arms to take the dog back, a driver finally took my order. You can hand Kyuyushan over now. Cheng Ziyui lowered his eyes. His features were sun-kissed and bright, yet a cold indifference lingered on his face whenever he did not smile. In the next instant, he snatched her phone, canceled the ride order, wrapped one arm around her neck, and pulled her firmly into his chest. Stunned by his sudden bold moves, Ichichi had no time to react before she was shoved neatly into the passenger seat of his car. I'm the one who answered your call first. Cheng Ziyui slammed on the gas, and Yichichi along with her poor sick dog nearly flew out of their seats from the jolt. He drove her to a renowned private pet hospital, where the veterinarian confirmed Dr. Gust's diagnosis. It's acute gastroenteritis. A course of anti-inflammatory IV drips will do the trick. Thank you, doctor. Ichichi took the prescription slip to pay the bills. Stepping out of the consultation room, she spotted Cheng Ziyui sitting quietly on a bench outside, his profile bathed in silvery moonlight, looking like a divine being carved by the stars. He turned slowly at the sound of her footsteps. Yichichi gasped in shock. The flawless godlike face was marred by red, swollen rashes breaking out across his skin, triggered by his fur allergy. I'll take you to a human hospital right away for treatment, she blurted out in panic. No need. I have anti-allergy medicine at home. Cheng Ziyui stood up, one hand tucked casually in his pocket, casting her entirely in his shadow. But now you've seen my unsightly side. You have to take responsibility for this. Yishiki's heart raced wildly. The slanting moonlight and twinkling stars seemed to dance in time with her pounding pulse as she stammered nervously. How do I take responsibility? Come find me later, and I'll tell you. 1 month prior at university's inter-department debate competition, Chi had competed as the second debater for the broadcasting and hosting department. She led her team all the way to the finals, facing off against the medical department, the hot favorite to claim the championship, and its most prominent star, Chang Ziyue. Command articulate, Chang Ziyue spoke with unwavering logic and sharp precision. He had single-handedly crushed the Chinese department team in the semi-finals, earning him widespread fame across campus. The final debate topic centered on whether fan culture deserves universal condemnation, with the broadcasting and hosting department arguing the opposing side. As a former avid fan deeply immersed in fandom culture, Yashika's passion ignited instantly. She countered every one of Chang Ziyu's arguments within a split second, retorting relentlessly until his face clouded over with frustration. With a sweet smile, she remarked, "My apologies if I've wounded your soul. I offer my sincerest apologies to it." Left lost for words, Chang Ziyue was completely defeated. Under Yi Shika's leadership, the broadcasting and hosting department claimed the championship, and she was awarded the title of Best Debater of the entire competition. To celebrate their victory, the debate team headed to a hot pot restaurant off campus that night, only to find the medical department seated at the table right next door. The atmosphere turned unbearably awkward in an instant. Though Chang Ziyue appeared relaxed and unconcerned, his gaze locked firmly onto Yi Chi, making her inexplicably flustered. She picked up her fruit wine glass and drained it in one gulp. Her teammates cheered, praising her impressive drinking capacity. The drink tasted far too mild to be alcoholic, so Yi Chi let her guard down. As everyone toasted and chatted, she could feel two intense eyes fixed steadily on her. Her cheeks gradually burned hot, and her head grew dizzy and foggy. She reached for another glass only for it to be snatched away mid-movement. All heads turned to Chang Ziyue, who twirled the wine bottle lazily with a faint smirk. "This fruit wine tastes far better mixed with sparkling water." He ordered a bottle of soda water and quietly swapped her drink. Chi shook her spinning head, voice muddled. "I shouldn't have spoken so harshly during the debate." Hung Ziyue's fingers tightened around his glass as she stared up at him with glassy, innocent eyes. "Let me toast to you. We'll bury the hatchet and start fresh. From now on, we're brothers around campus." Bewitched by her sincerity, he complied and drank the replacement drink. The alcohol finally hit Yi Chi hard, and she drifted off to sleep. In her slumber, she habitually clutched at Kia's Hansbowl, only to mumble in confusion at how thin and bony it felt, how rough the pop ad was, yet wonderfully warm. She woke up the next morning in a hospital bed, hooked up to an IV drip. On the adjacent bed, Chang Ziyue leaned against the headboard, watching her with a teasing smile. An hour after she had passed out, every member of both debate teams had been rushed to hospital with high fevers and skin rashes. The homemade fermented fruit wine from the restaurant's kitchen had gone bad, causing mild food poisoning for everyone who drank it. Chang Ziyue had drunk the glass Yi Chi offered him. An overwhelming guilt washed over her once she learned the truth. "Nothing good ever happens whenever I run into you," Chang Ziyue said, raising his recently removed IV hand with a sinister smile. "Aren't you going to explain yourself?" "Classmate, it's all my fault. I'm so sorry, truly sorry." Yi Chi bowed repeatedly in remorse. "To make amends, I'll cover all your breakfasts for the next month." Chang Ziyue blinked slowly. "I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning then." The following week taught Yi Chi a painful lesson about reaping what one sows. Chang Ziyue lived by a strict routine. Breakfast at 7 sharp, followed by self-study or sports training. A lifelong night owl who loved sleeping in, Yi Chi was forced to drag herself out of bed early every morning to deliver his meals. After a full week of rushing back and forth, she could no longer keep up. She sent him a red envelope online, claiming she had caught a cold and asking him to arrange his own meals. She slept in until nearly noon the next day, waking up to an explosion of unread WeChat messages. Starting from 7 in the morning, Chang Zhuai had sent her a message every 20 minutes without fail. Cheng Zhou. I wake up and come down. Yi Qiqi jolted awake and tumbled off her bed. Rushing to the balcony, she peered down and spotted Cheng Ziyuai standing beneath the camphor tree at the entrance of her dormitory building, holding a paper bag in his hand. He zoomed in with her own camera and realized the bag was stuffed full of cold and flu medicine. A soft flutter stirred in her heart, light and sweet like peach blossoms swaying gently in the spring breeze. Kind as Cheng Ziyuai was, she knew she had to cut off her growing feelings. Yi, were you downstairs? I can't see you at all, so you must have left already. My cold triggered low blood sugar, leaving me dizzy and unable to get up early. You'll transfer cash for the remaining 3 weeks of breakfast instead. She sent over the red envelope immediately after typing the message. Cheng Ziyu. Keep the money. Rest well and recover soon. His unusually easy agreement struck her as suspicious. Curious, she raised her phone again to check his reaction. The clear camera lens captured Cheng Ziyuai lifting his head to stare directly at her dormitory window, a cold, mocking smile playing on his lips. Yi, Shika's heart skipped a beat in alarm. What a hypocritical, scheming boy. In the days that followed, Yi Qiqi could not stop replaying that icy smirk in her mind. She waited warily for Cheng Ziyuai to plot some form of revenge, yet he remained eerily quiet. Though relieved, a faint thread of disappointment lingered in her chest. March faded into April, and Kia's Haunt's sudden illness threw Yi Qiqi back into Cheng Ziyuai's path once more. Yi Qiqi feared that if Cheng Ziyuai chose to settle old scores alongside new grievances, he might very well have her eliminated on the spot. That afternoon, she had an on-camera simulation exam. Before class, he secretly ordered a custom banner, having heard medical students loved formal, heartfelt gestures. When Cheng Ziyuai stepped into his classroom, he was met with a large banner hanging across the back wall, 10 characters in total including the signature "Thanks to Cheng Ziyuai for saving my dog's life" signed by Qiu Shan. After a long moment of stunned silence, he chuckled softly to himself. Does she think a silly banner will let her off the hook? How naive. He had waited patiently for this perfect opportunity for far too long. Nothing, not even his own family, would stop him from closing the distance between them. The on-camera exam simulated live news hosting, testing student script reading, on-camera posture, and ability to handle unexpected emergencies. Faced with the rolling DV camera, Yi Qiqi stared straight at the teleprompter. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to University A-Live. I'm your host, Yi Qiqi. Today, we will take you through the latest campus news. On the 20-3rd, our medical department will compete in the Provincial University Emergency Rescue Competition. University has sent 2 teams, with Team 1 led by Cheng Ziyuai. The moment his name slipped past her lips, a hidden switch flipped open. Buried memories of their tangled past flooded her mind. She fought to refocus, yet stumbled repeatedly. Team leader Cheng Ziyuai. Cheng Ziyuai is. She stumbled over his name 5 times before finally stammering through the rest of her script. Removing her microphone, her heart felt light and unsteady, filled with floating dandelion seeds scattered by every soft gust of thought. She slouched out of the exam hall, where golden spring sunlight streamed through the glass corridor windows. Leaning against the window stood Cheng Ziyuai, breathtakingly handsome even in complete stillness. He turned around, raising an eyebrow. If the mountain will not come to me, I shall go to the mountain. Since you keep avoiding me, I'll come find you myself. Yi Shika's heart thundered wildly, a quiet emotion threatening to burst forth from deep within. She pressed her lips tightly together, lost for words. I have a make-up anatomy class this afternoon, requiring group practical work. I'm short of a partner. Help me finish the lesson. and we can go our separate ways for good. Go our separate ways. The 4 words crashed into her chest like a heavy hammer, shattering every fluttering, tender thought she had nurtured. She told herself assisting him would be simple, and a clean break would let her set aside all messy feelings once and for all. Yet standing in the cold anatomy lab, slipping on rubber gloves, her hand shook violently as she held a small white rabbit. She quickly realized how foolish her earlier confidence had been. 2 rabbits sat in separate cages, one white and one gray, each wearing a delicate silk ribbon tied around its neck with handwritten words embroidered on the fabric. Cute and helpless, the poor creatures were destined for dissection that day. Chills ran down Yishiga's spine as she imagined their silent sorrow. Cheng Ziyu's eyes lingered on her benign expression the entire time. He took a step forward with a scalpel in hand, and Yi Chi-Chi stepped back instinctively, clutching the trembling white rabbit to her chest. Her eyes glistened with unshed tears, ready to spill over at any second. Can't we skip this? They're so tiny and innocent. How can you bear to hurt them? Cheng Ziyui fought back a smile, twirling the sharp scalpel between his fingers. This is their unavoidable fate. We only dissect small specimens normally, but these 2 rabbits have caused constant trouble and damage around the lab. They cannot stay here any longer. He advanced another step, and Yi Chi-Chi blurted out in desperation. I'll adopt them both. You can stick to dissecting regular specimens, and this problem will be solved easily. The little rabbit had willingly hopped into the big bad wolf's strap, completely unaware of the scheme. Secretly overjoyed, Cheng Ziyu, I feigned hesitant consideration. After a long pause, he relented. If you insist on taking them, hurry up and leave before the professor returns. Yi Chi-Chi quickly locked the 2 rabbits in their cage and rushed home in a flurry. Cheng Ziyui smiled broadly, washing his hands slowly after class and humming a cheerful folk tune all the way back to his dormitory. Upon arriving home, Yi Chi-Chi finally noticed the words printed on the rabbit's silk ribbons. One fleeting glance from a teenage boy is a lifetime of devotion. I am that boy, and I fell for you the moment we met. He had hand-picked these lines from over 180 original confessions. Certainly Chi-Chi would badly understand his feelings. Just as he daydreamed about her sweet reaction, a message notification pinged on his phone from the Pet-Scare app. Yeah. Chi-Chi. Dr. Gu, could you recommend an emergency pet hospital? Qiu-Shan just ate the silk ribbon tied around the new rabbit's necks. In less than a week, Yi Chi-Chi was back at the pet hospital with Qiu-Shan, followed closely by a cold, glowering Cheng Ziyui. He stared daggers at the Simord, his icy gaze leaving the dog too scared to lift its head. After messaging Dr. Gu for advice, Yi Chi-Chi had called Cheng Ziyui immediately. The doctor had explained that Qiu-Shan was extremely anxious after swallowing foreign objects and needed company from someone familiar who had accompanied it to hospital before. Cheng Ziyui was the only person who fit every requirement. He had agreed without hesitation, arriving at her apartment door within 10 minutes. Thankfully, surgery was unnecessary. The vet performed a full examination and administered 20 milliliters of liquid paraffin, explaining the ribbon would pass naturally through digestion. While waiting, Yi Chi-Chi and Cheng Ziyui sat side by side in tense, awkward silence. His mind raced, tangled in confusion. Had their deal to part ways succeeded or failed? If it was over, why was she sitting beside him in a late-night hospital corridor? If not, how could she remind him to finalize their separation? Meanwhile, Cheng Ziyui was also reflecting on his failed romantic plans. His first attempt to grow closer to her on the night Qiu-Shan fell ill had ended in defeat. His second plan, using the 2 rabbits to confess his love, had collapsed instantly. Even his secret alias as Dr. Gu, his long-distance swingman, had proven useless. He realized his core mistake. He had never spoken his feelings plainly. Taking a deep breath, Cheng Ziyui stepped directly in front of Yi Chi-Chi, ready to confess. His words were cut short by a loud bang. The consultation room door burst open, and a fluffy white furball sprinted outside at full speed with a flustered assistant doctor chasing closely behind. It broke free the second I tried to give it the medicine. Yi Chi sprinted after Qiu Shan without hesitation. In the next second, Cheng Ziyui darted past her, shouting sharply, Qiu Shan, stop right there for Dad. Confusion washed over Yi Chi at his strange address. Trained with strict discipline, Qiu Shan was usually gentle and obedient, yet it ran all the way to a nearby bus stop. Cheng Ziyui chased relentlessly and finally cornered the dog on a bench. By the time Yi Chi caught up, she saw Cheng Ziyui sitting quietly, with Kia's Han's front paws resting softly on his knees and its head nestled against his chest. He stroked the dog's fur slowly and gently under the curved silver moon, his voice soft enough to melt the night breeze. I've never liked dogs, but love makes you accept everything tied to the one you care about. Starting today, I like you too, alongside this silly dog. Yi Chi blinked slowly, catching the hidden meaning in his words, and her breath caught in her throat. Cheng Ziyui lifted his head and met her wide, flustered eyes. She stood frozen, meek as a quail, ready to surrender to every move he made. An itchy tingle pricked his nose, the first sign of his allergy flaring up again. He turned away to rub his skin, only for the red rashes to worsen when he faced her once more. He walked over with Qiu Shan in tow, cupping her cheeks gently between his palms. Look at my face. Yi Chi snapped back to reality, her vision filled entirely with his handsome features marred by allergic redness. My face is ruined again because of you, and no one will want to look at me soon. Aren't you going to take responsibility? How should I take responsibility? Stay with me. Promise to be mine, so only you will ever see every side of me, beautiful or flawed. A permanent solution. Kishika's mind spun in chaos, yet she blurted out a flustered reply. I only take primary school second-minus grade students as pets. You're far too old for me. Cheng Ziyui smiled softly. Unfazed, I'll get a fake second-minus grade graduation certificate first thing tomorrow. Left completely speechless, Yi Chi could find no rebuttal. Any other objections? If not, look past these ugly rashes and see my true heart. I'm bearing my worst fears and greatest weaknesses just to confess to you. She should have refused. She had run from him time and again, avoiding his advances and suppressing her own heart. Yet his earnest gaze held only her. No one else. He was willing to endure painful allergies for her and her dog, never once asking her to abandon Qiu Shan. Overwhelmed by tangled emotions, he let Cheng Ziyui led her back to the consultation room. As they left the hospital later, Cheng Ziyui's face was covered in bright red allergy rashes. He chatted casually with Qiu Shan, addressing himself as its father without a shred of embarrassment. It was only then that Yi Chi realized, in the most unexpected way possible, she had finally become Cheng Ziyui's girlfriend. Her story had unfolded far differently than she imagined, yet she could not help but smile at this sweet, hard-minus-one happy ending.